guys, it's your girl, Sam Manuel, and you are currently listening to Monday with Emmanuel. As promised, today's episode is going to be about parents and how our relationship with them affects our relationship with others. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, the OG Manuel, my dad. Hey, Dad.
Hello.
Hey. Yeah, so I figured since this episode's about parents, I figure I'd bring my own parent on. And I know a lot of you know my mom or about my mom, and definitely she's not the one to have on here. So I figure I'd bring my dad on here.
I don't talk much.
We're going to run through some questions that I have for him and some questions that were brought to the table via Instagram. Dad, what kind of relationship do you think we have?
Today?
Yeah, today.
Good.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say as I got older, me and my dad definitely got a little better as far as relationships go. Honestly, I owe a lot of my interest in technology and like being ready for the next best thing to my dad. Because, you know, he would, when I was younger, he was always the first with the coolest shit or the coolest technology and like the weirdest food. So I owe a lot of my my know-all to that. So I definitely commend him for that. Let's dig into something a little deeper. How was your relationship with your parents when you were around my age and younger?
When I was younger, believe it or not, it was really hard. We had 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and mom and dad. That's 7 people in a one house. Mom and dad both worked. Things were tight. You didn't get to hang out with mom. She was working. You didn't get to hang out with dad. He was working, and things are different now.
What do you think of things now?
Well, like now, it's like things have changed so much, especially between you and I. I'm retired now, and you're living a stay-home job, and we kind of have a good relationship. So things are really well now. But why did it take 40 years, 30 years for that,
Yeah. I guess let's rewind. So, since we're talking about like how we are now, how do you think that my relationship with you guys affected me now?
Well, what reflected on your relationship was more family on mom's side, because with my job, I only worked a half a year and I was home for a half a year, and time away was mom's time with your aunts. So our relationship when I was home was closer than normal people, I would think, but now I think it's even better because now I'm home 365 and you got a stay home job and we can call each other any time of the day or night.
Do you think that if we grew up differently, I think about this a lot. If I grew up kind of with both of you, I feel like life would have been a hell of a lot different. You know, there's a lot of millennials my age out there who are like children of the divorced, you know? So, do you think that if you and mom would have stuck together, do you think I would have ended up any different, any better, or any worse?
Well, not better, but mentally better. Yeah, it wouldn't have hurt for sure, and a divorce don't help anybody. Obviously, we both know that now, and I mean, it does suck for everybody. The only one that don't suck for is the lawyers.
Do you think that you and mom would have worked out if something differently happened? How do you feel about your relationship there and what happened there?
I think if we would have moved out of state, I think we probably would still be married.
What do you think? What do you think brought you two apart? Now that with that explanation.
Well, I don't know if you and I ever dug deep into the reason, but I'm the opposite of what mom did. Like, I would never throw you under the bus, and anything that happened between mom and I just took the blame, and that was it, and I didn't want you to be, mean for your mother, and so I kind of ate the blunt of it. But I'm not going to say mom was the total blame. Actually, I don't know why. All I know is I've seen some things on my time off. Like I said, I only worked a half a year. So when I came home, I've seen things that were making the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Wasn't good.
Yeah. I know a lot of, I've heard mom say this a few times, but if it wasn't for her sisters, that you two would have been better off. And how do you feel about hearing that?
Well, you heard that, and I heard that out of her mouth. Actually, like, even if her mom was still alive, I mean, her mother was the best. She died at a very early age, and if she was still alive, we'd still be together.
Yeah. Yeah, I know grandma held up a lot of the family.
Yeah,
I
mom
actually
was
talk
like,
about that in the previous episode. You should take a listen to that and hear
right,
what I
I
got to
will.
say. Yeah. Yeah, grandma really held up a lot of the I you know what? I stole a picture from the house of you and grandma in the kitchen.
Really?
Yeah, and with her Entenmann's her her Entenmann's thing. Her the oh, what do you call that? The cabinet or whatever. And you two were in the kitchen together. I have a
Mm,
picture of that.
Mom's mom?
Yeah, mom's mom.
Yeah, she was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, her and I got along well. Unless I was contradicting her food.
Why do you think that if grandma was still alive, you and mom would still be together?
Well, your mother listened to her mother as you do yours.
Mm.
And, she made sense. She was smart. And when your grandmother passed away, mom took it really bad.
Yeah.
And she only had her two sisters and her father. And her father wasn't the best thing. So it really didn't help anybody.
Yeah. Do you think me and mom are a lot alike when it comes to like the relationship she had with grandma and the relationship I have with her?
No, because you have an open mind and you're calm and relaxed, and you're more like me with that. And mom's off the handle. So, no, you're nothing like that.
Yeah. I agree with that. A big thing with me when I think about you and how my kind of childhood was affected by what you guys did or how you guys handled your situation. I know mom was always kind of like the loud one and you were always like the all right, let me, just sit here and kind of not say anything to make it worse. Do you think that both of you not having sort of like parents in your time while having me, do you think that affected being able to raise me in a way?
Yeah, in our era, when we were young, mom and I only 1 year apart. I'm 61, we'll be 62 soon. And when we were young, our parents weren't like they are today. Like, we're close. We weren't close when we were younger. It took me, I want to say, till I was between 35 and 45 to be close to my father. And then my mom insisted on my dad's only 2 off days to drive her to work, so he didn't want to drive. So I drove my mother to work, and grandpa and I went to the casino. Well, we had to get together somehow.
You said mom losing her mom really affected her. Do you think it affected you?
Oh, yeah, it affected me directly for her and our relationship.
I was a baby when that happened. I was born and I was a baby. Mom lost her mom before me. And then I feel like she never really had her dad. So like she was kind of like floating, but you still kind of had your father and your mother, and you didn't lose them until I was how old? I don't even remember how old I was.
Oh, you were probably, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7, something around there. And my parents actually accepted mom, so she did have something. But her father's still alive today, and he's up in his 90s, and still don't come and see you or mom or his other daughter, and his oldest daughter had passed away, so
Yeah.
I don't see any relationship with him with his own daughters.
Yeah. How do you think losing your parents affected your relationship with mom?
Well, it probably made us more distant again because she lost her mother, then had no one, and then my mom passed away, and then she had that, and then lost that also.
I personally feel like it put a strain on your relationship, definitely, when that's something that probably should have brought you guys together, in my opinion. I think about that often. And I think about you and I wonder how you're doing and if you're okay because I feel like mom wasn't kind of there for you when that happened. Or maybe she wasn't like the sweetest that she could have been. You know what I mean?
Because of my job, I'm a captain on a boat for 30 years and away for half a year. While I was away, all her two sisters had to say was, he's a sailor. And when they hit port, you know what they do in port? There's a woman in every port. And mom kind of believed it,
Yeah.
which it wasn't true.
I definitely think that if you and mom stuck together, my life definitely would have turned out a little bit different. I think I still would have been here in Florida though, for sure. Cause we would all went here, I think.
I think you would have still went to Florida. I told you when you came out of high school, you said you only applied to one college. I'm like, oh, you apply to more. You can just decide after you get them, and this is the one I'm picking. I'm like, yeah, but widen your horizon. This is where I'm going. But what if you're full? What if you can't get books? What if you, this is where I'm going, and that's where you went.
Yeah.
But we have property in Florida. I mean, I've offered mom to move to Florida like when you were born. No. So I don't know why, but and had we moved to Florida, your college tuition would have been free.
Yeah.
Residents of Florida get huge college breaks.
I do wish it turned out different, but you guys tried a handful of times, right? You guys gave it. Do you feel like you did the most that you could possibly do? I blocked out a large portion of my dad's answer to this question because I just didn't feel comfortable posting it. But as time goes on and these episodes start to age, I might pull it from the archives and add it to a future episode.
And as bad as mom and I were together, I mean, I offered to move back in with her and take care of her.
It's funny because when I talk to mom, it's like the conversations I have with you versus the conversations that I have with mom are very different. Mom has always been one to like hover. I have to talk to her 3 times a day, and it turns into something that's like a chore rather than like when I call you and we just shoot the shit. Like we just talk or like whatever's going on and this and that. It's definitely more relaxed. Was mom always like that?
Dude, there's actually only one other person that knew your mom when I did, was your Uncle Bob. And like the three of us used to go out and we had a blast, I mean, we hit New York City, we hit it hard. Nightclubs and Rodney Dangerfield, Red Fox, I mean, so many people. And mom was a different person. I mean, I honestly don't know what happened. Like, my brother and I talk because we're still close.
Yeah.
And we've decided together between him and I that women, when they get married, now, this is gender deal, but when women get married, they kind of want to be your mother. Now, I don't understand when you meet somebody, this is what they are, this is how they are, this is why you want to be with them. Why would you want to get married and change all of that? Because if you want to change it, that wasn't the person you wanted to be with anyway, obviously.
This is such a great opinion, and I wholeheartedly agree. You should never want to change the person that you originally fell in love with or fell for. In fact, you two should be growing together, and building a life together and having conversations and communicating rather than trying to change one another. And that's why I think before you get married, you should definitely know this person. I think a lot of articles say, or a lot of, scientific facts, what have you, say that you should know someone for at least 2 to 3 years before committing to them. You learn their habits. You learn, things they do behind closed doors. You learn about those things because if someone's wearing a mask with you, they can't wear the mask forever. Eventually they slip, and they show their true colors and who they really are. So you can only be fake for so long. If you're trying to put a show on for someone, it's not going to last.
I mean, it's real easy if you find someone that likes what you like and does what you do, and like you both get along the same way, then that's the person. But why would you want to get a person that's not that way and expect that you're going to change them to be what you want them to be, and then when they don't, then the shit hits the fan? I mean, my nephew, your cousin, Robbie, he's like his deal. Baby mom. He went with this one girl and had 2 children, beautiful children, and that was all good. And then they went on the outs. And then he left. He still takes care of his kids, and he still paid for both of the children, still does. And then met this other girl and had another baby mama. And it's even better for him now. They both get along well, and the baby's so cool. He likes children like I do. And he came up to me a little while ago out of nowhere, tells me that he wants to have another baby. I said, oh, that's cool. You want to have another baby? Give the little girl, somebody to play with, because that's what I wanted to do with you. When we had you, I said to Mom, listen, Sam's okay now. She's out of diapers now, and she's like 2 years old. Let's have another baby, like right now, because this will be the perfect time. Then we're done. I mean, if we have a boy, it'll be a boy and girl, like little boy, little girl, mom and dad, perfect marriage, perfect life. And Mom said, no more children. I didn't even want Sam. What are you talking about? I said, wait a minute. Before we got married, I told you what I wanted. I wanted 10 children. And you were fine with that. Today, after we're married with a 2-year-old, you didn't want any? Like, why didn't you tell me any of that? That's shit you don't keep secret.
Yeah, it's like a flip of the switch. It's weird. You think that as soon as you guys got married, that's when the switch flipped in a way.
Telling you, it was just like a light switch. It wasn't long after that just things started going bad. Because I remember when we got married and we went on our honeymoon. We went down to Florida. We were cruising the islands, and we came back home, and everything was fine. It's okay. We got a place to live now, and we signed a year lease in it. Okay, so at the end of the lease, towards like 9 months into the lease, okay, we need to buy a house now. She said, oh, I don't want to, I want a condo. You want a condo? I said, you see, we were living in a garden apartments in Thousand Oaks. I don't know if you remember it.
Yep.
And I said, you want a condo? And she said, yeah. I said, you don't even like the neighbors next door here. If this was a condo, you're stuck here. Those neighbors are for life until they move or you move. Like, that ain't going to change. Like, you sure that's what you want? Yes, that's what I want. Well, I convinced Mom into buying a house because the neighbors upstairs bought a drum set. So we went out looking for a house, and I gave the real estate agent our price, and we went and looked at this house on Never Sink River Road.
Yeah.
In Rumson. The neighborhood is to die for. But when we walked into this house, the floor bowed.
Oh, no.
It leaned down the hill a little bit, but it was on from the road down to the river, and you have river frontage property. If you just leveled that piece of land, it would have been, I don't know, $5 million piece of property back in the late 70s.
Damn.
So we walked in there, Mom starts screaming, right? Oh, you think I'm living in shit like this? I said, no, just delete this house. Just picture this, your perfect house, and look at the view. You're on the river. I mean, you're in Rumson, one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in New Jersey. Are you sure? I'm not living under these conditions. You're not going to do nothing. We're going to live like shit the rest of them. Okay, all right. Let's go somewhere else. And I said, but I just want you to know something. Like, look at this property again. When we got home and we looked at it, I said, you see this? Knock that house down. We could fit two big houses on this piece of property. Live in one and sell one, and the one would pay for ours. We could live there free. I'm not living under those conditions, but those conditions aren't going to be for long. They're going to be really short, and you're going to have a beautiful house on the river. No. Okay. Wasn't worth arguing.
Yeah. I think a good lesson from hearing some stories about mom is that don't let other people influence your thinking and your way of life. Because it sounds like mom was cool until maybe other people got into her ear and tried to sing her another song.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Again, when I came home because of that reason, I came home one day and I used to frequent mom. Hey, how about we go to the movies? No, no, no. So I got off the boat one day and she says to me, how about we go to the movies? And I forget what the movie was, but it was about a man cheating on his wife and the wife doing horrific things to the husband. I mean, horrific. After the movie, when we walked out into the lobby, mom says, see, all my girlfriends at work told me, bring your husband to see this movie. That's what you get when you cheat on them. You brought me to this movie for that reason? Guess what? We don't go to a movie again. That's it. Never again. And needless to say, we never did.
It's funny. I think about it, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't picture mom doing that. But, like, yes, I actually can picture it.
That started before you were born.
I know, with age, I feel like she definitely got worse. She definitely got worse with age. I don't know what's happening, but the relationship I have with her definitely affects my mental health
and relationship with me
doesn't. It's funny because for her.
For you, for me.
Yeah, well, I wish
Not for her.
I wish a lot of the times that she didn't influence me as much as she did, but also, when someone's telling you something, someone in a higher power than you, like your parent or whatever, you tend to believe them and you tend to be one-sided a lot of the time and not see the other side. So it seems like, yeah, I'm a lot like mom in that way, where I was influenced by what she had to say. But of course I was going to be, because that's my mom. And you always told me, oh, don't be mean to your mother, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's like close to impossible not to argue or fight or retaliate against her. I always thought that when I got older that my relationship with my mother would get better. Surprise, it hasn't. When I was growing up, I was very jealous of the relationship that my friends and acquaintances had with their parents. And if you know me, you know my mom and how crazy Fran can be without reason. I could have a whole episode dedicated to my mother, and it still wouldn't be enough to cover all of she would never say this, but it wouldn't be enough to cover all the emotional damage she kind of caused me. There's a lot of different working parts to my mother, and a lot of it that I will never understand because honestly, I'm just the kid. It's not my place.
Well, even now, most conversations we have, it still comes up that mom did this and you're all stressed out. And even still today, I still tell you, it's your mother, if something happened to her, you got to live with that.
Yep, that's the pinpoint and everything. And that goes for everybody, too. I feel like if you have an argument with someone on day one and on day two something happens to them, like they die or like whatever, you're going to feel like a bag of shit for being mean to them even if they were nasty to you like your whole life, you're gonna feel bad because the final conversation you had with them was like an argument or whatever.
All right, and you got to
Well,
live with that the rest of your life, and
yep.
you don't deserve that.
Nope. That's probably the worst feeling, that regret feeling. I'd hopefully never have to feel it, but yeah, that's my relationship with my mom, trying to stay on an even keel with her so that if anything does happen, I don't feel guilty or I won't have that guilty remorse if and when she passes. Yeah.
Well, there is no if and when. We're all going. Sorry. We're not here
Yeah.
forever. We got a real
Well,
short time.
look at her father.
Well, he's going to be here forever.
Oh yeah, he's
So
the
he
if.
thinks anyway. I mean, he's a millionaire and he thinks they got pockets and coffins, so I don't understand. Like, he ain't going nowhere.
Nope. That's for fact.
But I don't know, maybe he'll get married someday because he always thought he was single anyway.
Well,
I mean,
he
I've
still
got,
thinks he does, even with the woman that he cheated on grandma with. So he still acts single with her. So it doesn't matter.
if you just threw out there this one incident with your grandfather in the hospital with grandma, I mean, people hear that they wouldn't even listen to your show or they wouldn't be able to turn it off.
That's actually the exact comment I make. I'm gonna send you the link to the last show. I talk about how grandma was in the hospital with cancer and my wonderful grandfather went to go see his side woman while grandma was in the hospital. I do talk about. I did.
Side hoe.
Yeah. And she still is. Yeah.
I thought she was gone.
Nope, still around. Still around.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting, right?
But I mean, you got to elaborate more on that. He was sitting in the hospital next to his wife's bedside while she's in a coma. He picks up the phone on the end table and calls up his kumad to make a date with her for that evening. Oh, I'm stuck in the hospital with my wife. I'll meet you in about an hour and a half and we'll go out and have dinner. You scumbag. You should die right now.
I'm glad you said the whole story because I kind of briefed over it in the previous episode. So I'm glad you spilled the beans on that whole story. One topic I wanted to talk about, and then we'll end it here, is the cheating that took place in you and mom's relationship and the correlation it had to me and how it affected me.
We don't have enough time on air to talk all of that.
That's true.
I mean, actually, I would honestly, truthfully, I would love it if this were possible. I know it's not, but I would love it if it were you on one end of the phone or FaceTime, whatever the hell we do now. I don't know. I'm not with technology, but, you and mom and me answering your questions truthfully.
I wanted mom on the show originally with you, but I was like, oh man, mom. So I didn't know how that was going to play out with her and you and me on here. So I figured I'd start with you because I did talk about you a little bit in the previous episode. So I was like, hey, why not get Dad on here? Ask him his point of view. And then maybe later in a future episode, get Mom on here and talk to her. And then maybe in a future episode, get you both on here.
Well, you just got to hit that mute button pretty frequent with Mom. Unfortunately, I'm more open than she is, and that's the truth, But, I'm open for that, Sam. I mean, you deserve answers to your questions, and you deserve the truth. Now, you decide for yourself when I tell you the answers you ask me. Now, if you believe them or not, that's up to you. I don't lie to you. And your mother, on the other hand, that's up to you to make your decision on what she spews out of her mouth.
A lot of what Mom says I don't typically believe. And I've listened to her for 30 years, I only ever had her narrative as far as, about you and like about the past. And like, as I got older, I started to believe her less and less in the things that she had to say. So I become more and more inclined to reach out to, the other part of my parent, my dad, to see what, there's three sides to every story. There's their side, this side, and then the truth somewhere in the middle, which is what I need to kind of discover on my own. So it's like my dad's side, my mom's side, and then I get to piece everything together like a puzzle and decide for myself what is real and what isn't.
Well, like you said, you've been listening to your mom for 30 years. I mean, you caught your mother in lies numerous times. Have you called her on it once?
It's
No.
no, I have not, but it's very difficult. Hold on. It's very difficult to call mom out on her shit because she refuses to take accountability for it. And instead of owning up to it, mom doesn't apologize. The word sorry is not in her vocabulary. Instead of owning up to it and saying, oh, this really happened here or this happened there, she will become defensive. Like, when you back an animal into a corner, they're going to attack.
Well, you know what, then? You got to work on your mother, then. You got to get her to understand she's not going to live forever, and you would like answers before she goes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely. It's definitely something I need to work on, especially hitting the age that I'm at now.
Well, considering the age she's at now, you better hurry up, because it's going to take a long time for you to convince her to do that.
She is very stubborn.
Oh, man, people listening to this don't understand. I hope you get her on so they do understand,
Yeah.
and everything will mesh for them pretty quick.
Well, let's see. The funny part is a lot of people who are probably listening right now know a little bit about Fran. And I'll talk about Fran a little bit because she's not here to talk about herself, but Fran is my mom. All throughout my life, Fran has been very controlling, and as a lot of people see it, crazy. But
So manipulative in there.
Yeah, that definitely an adjective to describe her, manipulative. I was kind of raised on this mentality of, oh, well, that's your mother, and you have to respect your mother, and it doesn't matter what she does, you have to still respect her and kind of go with it. And since she raised you, you should be more um, understanding and this and that and the other thing. But as I get older and as I got older, I became less inclined to follow that mentality. I can't anymore because it's killing me. I've seen multiple therapists, I've seen countless doctors. Herself makes me uneasy, anxious, and she will be the last to admit it. But how she acts, the things she's done, people know. She's called the cops on me numerous times for not answering the phone. Even from 1,000 miles away, I couldn't get away fast enough. She's Fran, and that's how people know her.
Had the police knocking on your door from 1,000 miles away because you didn't answer the phone?
That's the ticket. It's been going on for years, ever since I moved away from home, which is probably the best thing that I could have did for myself because she's not here.
And both of us right now, we're not here to slam her right now. I know that's not what this is about.
No, this is definitely not a slam. Speaking about people who can't be here to defend themselves, it's nothing like that. It's basically, I invited the party of my dad on here to discuss his side, his point of view, and get his opinions on things. It just so happens that my mom's not here to also talk about those things. But if she was, the show would be definitely louder than it is right now.
Mom's volume is usually on like the 10 level, where mine's usually on 3 or 4, and yours is on 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was raised by, so mom used to tell me stories about you guys all the time, to be on a more positive note. That you two were like a good couple. Like the fight, you guys would fight, you guys were crazy, like, and you made me, and I am nothing like either of you in any aspect. I don't fight. I'm not really loud. I'm not really angry or violent or anything like that. But, it goes to show two crazy people can make a semi-normal child, I guess.
You don't let anyone shit on you. Your volume will get turned up if need to be. And you've learned from both ends of the spectrum what to do and not do in your life.
Yeah, I saw a lot growing up with you two. I saw a lot of things that I wanted to be, and I saw a lot of things that I didn't want to be. And I kind of just, I guess, ran with it as an adult.
But, you say mom called the cops on you a few times. I think I'm in the Guinness Book of Records for having the more domestic violence charges. I've had 27 domestic violence charges with your mother. And when we went to court on 27th time, the judge said, wait a minute, you two again? Mrs. Manuel, I have to ask you a few questions. Does Mr. Manuel beat you? Oh, absolutely not. Well, does he verbally abuse you? Oh, no. Excuse me, Your Honor. Mr. Manuel's a really good husband. He's a great provider. He's a great father. Husband. And the judge stopped her and said, hey, if he's that fucking great, what do you keep doing here? Now, I'm telling you, this is the last time you will be in my court. If you're here again, Mrs. Manuel, you're the one to pay the consequences for it. Needless to say, I didn't have 28.
I always forget the number that it was, but I always remember you saying that story for sure.
What, did you have to mute your laughter? It's funny now. It damn sure wasn't funny then.
Things are only funny with time. That's when things get funny. When you sit back and you're like, well, shit. That's...
Some of the union between 10 and 20 was mom screaming so loud the windows were vibrating. I figure I better leave before the windows break and I got to repair them tomorrow. So I figure I'll walk to the bar and have one beer and a game of pool because I don't drink. And I started to walk to the bar. Then I realized there was something on my neck. Man, it was getting irritating. My neck was getting stiff and it started to hurt. And it was your mother. So when I got 2 blocks away, I had to turn around and bring her home.
I'm sure we could have mom stories forever between the two of us. I'm sure we got plenty of those.
Well, unfortunately, they're true.
Yeah.
But all comedians make laughter out of facts.
That's true. I should have became a comedian as I got older. With all the shit that between you and me been through, woof, I deserve a medal.
Good God. It's not too late.
It isn't. It's never too late to do what you want to do. That is true.
Yes, indeed. Well, this whole shit, you can be the president of the United States. Bullshit. If you didn't go to kindergarten and first grade in a limousine, the odds of you being a president are 0.
Oh, man. All right. You have any final words for me, Dad?
No, I'm good, girl.
I want to thank everyone who tuned into this episode of Monday with Manuel. I don't usually do corny shit like this, but if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to put out a new Monday with Manuel every, you guessed it, Monday. Go ahead and hit that like button. It'll definitely help me get into the swing of YouTube's algorithm, and it would help me put out more videos every Monday consistently. Also, share this video with someone, a friend, a parent. I don't know. Share it. It was good. Tune in for a new episode of Monday with Emmanuel on April 4th, where we'll be discussing our roommates. Do you have them? Do you like them? Feel free to hit me up on Instagram and share with me your favorite, or not so favorite, roommate story. I want to hear what you guys have to say about roommates. Do you consider your significant other a roommate? I'd love to hear what you guys thought about this episode. By far one of my favorites. So I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Oh, wait, say bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you. Bye.